Some of the ads that I've been seeing, I just exited. It was just like something like, he's fucking.
What?
Just in his fucking gym gear, and he's like, "Is it the weekend yet?" It's like, shut up. What the fuck's going on, guys?
No,
Today
fuck off, this is my video. Alright.
I was gonna say.
If you're wondering why I'm here, I'm at Mike's house. Today we're gonna be talking about why we shoot underexposed, because... Is that a WRX?
Yeah, that's the same.
Oh, that's sick. There's a WRX outside. It's like the car that I want, and it just stopped outside Mike's house for some reason.
You said you didn't like those.
Well, I can't see that. What are we talking about? Yeah.
Why do we shoot underexposed?
Yeah, because when I put the before and afters on my stories, like the before I've edited and then the after I've edited, you guys always ask me, why is it so underexposed? Why do you shoot underexposed? And the reason is essentially because you can bring back an underexposed image and you can make it look better. Whereas
I guess shooting something with, if you blow out the highlights, they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, highlights are harder to bring back than shadows. You can always bring up shadows and you can sort of make the image still look good and you can get a moodier tone out of it. But if you blow out the highlights,
you're fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah, pretty much.
So for today's video, we're gonna go jump into Lightroom because we're not gonna jump into Lightroom.
Swan dive into fucking Lightroom.
Jump into Lightroom. We're gonna go open Lightroom on our computer and we're gonna go edit this photo that I took in Japan, which I shot really underexposed. And I actually did at the time, I was like, fuck, this is quite underexposed, but I managed to bring it back and I'm gonna go re-edit it for today's video. So let's go into Lightroom.
Let's do it. I'm keen. Alright, I can see why you had to underexpose this image, just because the little lantern things have little lights in them, obviously, right?
Yeah, so the reason I underexposed this is because, as you can see, there's lanterns, which are the brightest part of the image, and like we were saying before, they're the highlights of the photo, and we didn't want them, well, not we, I didn't want them to be overexposed, which is why I exposed for the lanterns, which it's gonna sound really confusing. Essentially, I shot the photo darker so that the lanterns were normally exposed.
Don't overexpose your lanterns!
So the first thing that I want to do, obviously, is bring back the shadows because they're just completely fucked. They're black, you can't see anything, and we want to bring out all that detail that was in the image to make it look like what it was there when I was taking the photo. So I reckon we'll go to the shadows here. Bring them up a bit. I always like to do this, I always like to put the exposure up.
Just to see what you're working with. I did the same thing.
Yeah, and then I like to bring the highlights down a tiny bit, and then I don't like the look of that, so I'm gonna bring the shadows back down. Might actually add a bit of contrast. And
that's funny, man. It's funny. It's interesting watching you edit because I've never actually really watched you edit.
Yeah, I don't.
The entire time I've like known you.
Yeah.
So I do it a different way. So I bring up my shadows and all that kind of shit, and then I hold Alt and I look at my whites, so I see where it starts to clip. Right, so you can see that the lantern there, that's when like the highlights are clipping, right? And I do the same for the blacks, and obviously there's already...
If you don't know what clipping means, it essentially means before the highlights go completely white, like to the pure white color, if you hold down Alt and you start dragging on this white tab here, when you see these white little dots, that means the highlights have gone pure white, and you don't really want that. So
it's kind of just like training wheels to get you started on editing.
For my style here, the image is a bit too yellow, and the way that we're gonna get rid of that is by here, going to the temperature, and obviously you can see at the right here, it's yellow, and the left it's blue. So we're gonna bring it down and make the image a bit cooler. Something like that.
Ah, him so much better already.
Yeah, so instantly the photo looks a bit more better, and you can already see those two different contrasting colors. We got the oranges and we've got the blues there, and they're a bit blue. Like I like them a bit aqua, like, you know that aqua
yeah,
color?
sort of aqua where it's like -10 on the blues.
We'll go to that blue tab here and we'll just bring these down a bit. And already, as you can see, it's just cool. It's got that sort of night neon vibe already. Pump up the blues, pump up the saturation a bit, and bring up the lightness, which just makes them pop, right?
It just sort of brings out the detail. The luminance is like bringing out the detail in the color.
Yeah, exactly.
That looks so much better already, like with those blues.
Yeah. The highlights are a bit too low for me. I'm gonna bring them up.
Lanterns and neons, you can actually go a bit over the top with your highlights, but if you're editing like a landscape with a sunset in it, you don't want to blow out your sky. That just looks shit. But it's different with nighttime. If you got a lot of shadows, it can actually work with the image. It really comes down to your personal preference.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Alright, so next step is, I'm not really doing this in order. I'm gonna start doing this in order. So we're gonna keep working in this basic tab here. I'm gonna go put the clarity up to like 20 because I don't really like to mess around with the clarity too much because I feel like it can just completely ruin an image if you use it too much. And now the next part is how I get the fade in my photos, and I've done tutorials on this, and essentially we're just going to be putting the tone curve up. We're going to be fucking around with the tone curve. This motherfucker, because this is so confusing, right? This is probably the most confusing
When
part
I first started
of
editing, I never used it, but now it saves me.
Yeah, so
every
we're
time.
going to make an S out of this, just like this, which is going to put contrast in the photo, so we might have to adjust that. And we're just going to bring this little motherfucker, just going to bring him up. We're going to bring him up to here. Something like that. Alright, and now for me, it's a bit too contrasty, so I'm going to bring these contrasts just down a bit.
Essentially, like, your tone curve is going to affect what you've edited in the basic editing.
Yeah,
because
so
the tone curve is,
forth.
yeah, you're going to have to go back and readjust stuff in the basic.
I want to go change these yellows here. They're a bit too yellow. I like to have that orange and blue sort of vibe. So
yeah.
We can go into our yellow tab here, and we can just bring this to the left. And that's just going to make them a bit more orange. I'm going to bring the luminance up because I like them to look like they're actually lit up rather than just there. So we're going to bring that luminance up, bring the saturation up as well. I reckon a bit more orange just because we want to show that sort of like the color of the leaves. We want to bring that out. What else am I thinking? I reckon these oranges, we can go into the orange slider. We can bring these up a bit. Maybe the luminance as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Just makes it pop. So the next step is going to be putting a vignette on the photo, which is essentially bringing the attention to the middle part, which is the subject, which in this photo is the guy. So the way we do this is we press Shift M, which brings this graduated filter. It's like a radial filter. And so what I did there, you just click and you just drag down and then drag right, and you just
make your oval or
whatever the fuck you
want it to be.
And then you just bring the not the highlights, you bring the shadows down.
The exposure itself. You just bring the exposure itself down, yeah.
And we can just place that around this guy here. And then we can create another one by, how do you create another one? You press
right click.
Oh, duplicate, yeah. Well, he's teaching me now. And then we'll click on invert here, and we're going to bring the exposure up, which is just going to do the opposite.
Oh, so much better already.
Yeah, obviously, as you can see already, even with that, just that.
You can even hone it in a bit more to really excel the subject. Yeah.
Exactly. We're just going to bring that one in because we just want that. We just want the light part of this adjustment filter because it's a brighter one. We want to have it just on the subject here.
And if you really want to get this perfect, what you can do is if you press O, you can see exactly what your mask is affecting, right? So you can actually change the feathering if you want it to be, I mean, you can completely fuck it up here and go like 0 and see exactly what it affects, but
that looks shit,
obviously it looks shit. So you could put like 50% in, and that's really gonna hone it a bit better, which is what it's done right there.
Exactly. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna boost the vibrance a bit because I just like to put, to make these colors pop here.
Yeah,
just like a little bit, like literally like even 30. The last thing I want to do is I want to color this lantern in here.
Yep.
And I'm just going to press K, which is the brush tool. I'm just going to go select over this area here. And it's red, obviously, that's not the color, that's just the overlay showing the mask. Go into the color slider here, and you can literally just make it whatever color you want now. So I reckon we'll make it like
red
or yellow? Because I'm just thinking, I reckon yellow because it contrasts against the red
ones,
one. And then we're going to put the saturation up. And maybe, not too much. Put the temperature up to maybe.
What happens if you bring the highlights down a tiny bit?
Looks sick.
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit, maybe like -20.
Something like that. I'm just gonna play around with it, see what looks good.
That's half editing, man. Like, we can teach you as much as we possibly can, but at the end of the day, we're still learning.
And we just mess, I'm just guessing. Half the time you just have to guess. And if it looks good, then you can use that, and that's your editing style.
Awesome, well done.
Yeah, so that's it. That's why we shoot underexposed. I hope you learned something. Why do I keep clapping? But yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope you learned something. I hope you liked it because I want you to be able to go out and use this when you're taking your night photos. If you want to see more videos like this, maybe consider subscribing to my channel because that's what I do here. I create videos teaching you guys how to take photos. As always, stay inspired, keep creating, and I will see you in the next one.
See ya.